I help my clients build online sales funnels. I follow a particular methodology called the ASK method. And my base, if you were to put me under a core skill, that would be copywriting, which is just using your words either on paper or on a computer screen to convince people to take a specific action. And I will let Tomas tell us a little bit about himself, even though I think he's been here before.
Yes, I've been here before, but for you guys that might be a bit hazy, I'm Tomas Ponce de Leon of PBL Enterprises. I work in the video games industry, and I not only have international projects, my team is also comprised of international individuals, but in addition to that, one of the skills that I have that I use and get side jobs for around town is copywriting. So very similar to what Vani does, except I kind of have a couple of different specializations. Marketing, while a large part of the skills that you learn and use in marketing goes directly towards consumers, a lot of those same kinds of skills can be applied towards investors. So being able to pitch, being able to create copy essentially for investors is just as important as it is for consumers. So that's more of my experience is working on the upper, more corporate level, more B2B versus B2C, but I've done B2C copywriting work as well. So, Gabe?
My name is Gabriel. By day, I am a digital marketer in the financial industry. By night and evening and weekend and every other time I'm not doing that, I am the owner and CEO of a small boutique social media consulting company called Uloa Media. Primarily specializing in social media education and training, but also in digital analytics and understanding data for your business.
Cool. And a few things before we get started. In the first section, I talked a lot about different books that people want to know, like what to read. If you're interested in direct response marketing, this is like the latest book that is my recommended book. It takes a lot of the masters of the past 100 years. And it condenses them into a very consumable volume. If you go and read the originals, they're very dense and very hard to read. You often have to read them multiple times. But the advertising solution takes all that and puts it in a context in today's world. Since even though they are 50, 100 years old, a lot of the strategies and techniques that they use are still very much applicable in today's world. Even though you might see it as this digital world and this new landscape, but we're all still humans and we operate pretty much the same way as we have been. We just have technology to help us do things faster and do things in different ways. So it's that. The other thing is when I was reviewing the questions, there were a lot of questions that it really depends on the situation. So there was a question on what's the best marketing strategy? What's the next best thing? And the right question is always, what's right for my situation that I'm in? Since I've consulted with businesses that they don't need a lot of the type of marketing that I do. They just need a few core things, and they just need to do it very well. Contrast to that, the type of clients that I work with, there's a lot of research and testing that goes into it, and so that's a lot more of a complex situation. And so it's, if you think of it not as what's the best, but what's the right for your particular situation. And I think with that we can start with the projects.
Yes. So the first project you already heard about, Stephen, is also in this class. Somebody from the Potty Boss project want to explain what Linda's project is?
Linda has a Potty Boss, and what it is, she created a product that for little kids, when they go use the public restrooms, they can have a potty, like you lay it on top of the toilet seat, so the children don't fall in or don't have to touch the toilet seat directly. So that's what she created. She started a crowdfunding campaign for her product to raise money, and then also we have a Facebook promoting like the crowdfunding campaign. So her target market is mothers or parents with children, and the ages are from 2 to 8. Yeah.
So are you like this is like molded plastic, foldable seat that you can put down on public toilets so that you don't have to actually sit on the seat. Especially good for little kids.
How's the? Do you know, like? It sounds pretty big to be carrying.
Yeah, how
No,
large is it?
it folds up.
Okay,
It
folds
goes
up.
into like a little self-contained case,
Mhm.
and then the case can fit in like a larger purse or a diaper bag.
It's about the size of Richard's laptop there. If you hold it up.
A little smaller than this. I feel like half of this, no?
No, it's about that size.
About that size for expanded.
No, fold it up.
Okay. And then, does she know like how she's gonna reach people?
Social media and going to trade shows, events.
Okay. Probably want to find out like what are the popular children type communities that a lot of people hang out in. It seems like as a parent, like they're probably going to be online in these communities, and so that's probably like the best way to not spend as much advertising dollars, but to actually get the product into the hands of people that would find it, use it, and be very good as far as like testimonials and case studies. And the other thing is once she has like a good user base and she has some of themselves, then Facebook advertising is a great tool since you can target people on family size, age of the children, how many children that they have. There's a whole bunch of different metrics that you can use.
Yeah, that's the thing, is that social media itself is kind of a buzzword because it's really vague. It's like saying, well, how are you going to reach people? Oh, we're going to do marketing. Okay, so what is that marketing going to consist of? Because with social media, you have to think of what social media platforms you're going to be using, and even on that platform, there are different types of strategies and communities and groups that you can be looking at. You have to look at the profile of the individual, like role model, what is it, like the avatar of the user that you want to find, and then you have to devise, well, how are you going to use social media to reach that person? So, yeah.
I think going even further than Facebook, I mean, if we're targeting women, Pinterest, Instagram, are there other things that women are using? Are they on specific blogs that are for children specifically? What exactly are these moms doing and reading and doing online? And also, is there a huge demand for this type of product? Yes, the sanitary means is extremely important. Nobody wants to sit on a public toilet. But is there a huge demand for this? Are you creating a product that's a luxury, or creating a product that's a definite need? If it's a luxury, you're going to have a harder time selling it, but you can sell it at a higher price point. If you're selling it as a need and pitching it as something that, hey, mom of little Jimmy John here who's 3 years old, you need this, and you can sell them that it's a need, not necessarily a necessity, then you're going to create a larger market share. But make sure you also have to make sure you're giving it to them, hey, this is something that's needed, it fits very conveniently in your diaper bag, your purse, or whatever, and it's not necessarily a necessity, but it's something you need to keep your child safe.
It's also one of the things where when you're looking at each individual social media platform too, you have to think about how users are interacting with it. So, for instance, if you're using Pinterest, you might want to have, you want to construct that photo of like the potty boss in a way that people can see it and, ooh, I'm going to share this, right? Because this is a really neat lifestyle thing. Versus if you're sharing it on Facebook, the type of photo, the type of interaction, the type of like sharing mechanisms that are built into that platform are going to be different. How people use the platforms are different. So the strategy for getting that spread across and making that viral is going to be different on each platform.
And is this potty box, right? Is it in a self-contained unit? Like after it folds up, does it go into another little container?
Yes.
Okay, so I was thinking, well, if you're sitting it on a toilet seat, and toilet seat's gross and nasty, then you're folding it up, putting it in your purse, now everything else in your purse is nasty. So it's in a self-contained container.
And when you fold it out, like you don't have to touch exactly the top of the toilet seat. There's other areas that you can touch to fold it up and fold it up.
Oh, that's cool.
It is pretty easy to clean. It's just like a standard like polyurethane plastic or something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks.
So that's the first venture. Somebody from the Edible Garden team want to tell the group about our Edible Garden project here on campus? Eduardo? Lauren?
Really funny here.
The Edible Garden, there's 1.75 acres on the other side of campus that they're trying to grow vegetables and do some fruit trees and make it kind of like a relaxing area. And I think they want to donate the fresh food to students at the school and who's in need of food. And I don't know, they've been working on it for like 2 years now, but I think they're finally going to be planning soon, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the semester.
Let's hope so. It's been long enough.
Yeah, I guess that they have this 1.75 acres that they are going to work on. They're going to create a full garden thing. There's going to be all kinds of, like a place for people to chill, hang out, like students, stuff like that. What's being funded is by this, what is it, the Redneck family?
It's
Yeah, there you go. That and students are also pitching in, putting some of the money into it. So there's obviously going to be help with the funding, but it's just going to be for. I guess they took like some tests about students, and I guess in Kern County, it's 1 in 6 people say that they couldn't go to school because of the fact that they have to worry about the gas and food and stuff. And they took an actual test here in our school, and they said it's every 1 in 4 students can't afford to go to college because of the gas. And
They're picking between eating or getting gas or going to school.
Have you guys done any like statistical analysis on the potential student impact that this garden could have?
what they did is they just want to see what people are interested in actually bringing to the table, as in what types of fruits, vegetables, that, a couple of different things that they can actually get. But they just, I don't know, I haven't really seen the actual results yet, all of them.
Are there certain fruits and vegetables you guys are looking at more because of a higher nutritional value, or they're larger so they can feed more people, or you're just kind of growing whatever
But
you
they
can get
have to
your
see
hand?
what they can actually grow in the garden.
Seasonal too.
Like seasonal type of things. But the whole point is to ensure that people don't go. Students here have food
Year round.
and year round. They don't have to worry about one more expense.
Are students actually going to be like using this? Because I know a lot of students, even if say, oh, I can like pick a fresh head of lettuce or like pick a carrot and eat that. I have a feeling like not a lot of students, like even if that was their only choice of sustenance, would choose that. Do we know? Has there been interest shown in students actually using this?
There's been a huge groundswell of support, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty exciting. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's hard to, Valente, I'll get to your hand in a second. It's hard to describe the entirety of this project. Like, it's to get the bureaucratic approvals on this campus to
Yeah.
be able to allocate 1.75 acres of land is no small feat. The bureaucratic pathway is paved.
Yeah.
We've got a community, likely six-figure community donor bringing money to the table. There's about 45 or 50 grand being pitched in by the Student Association. And what I've noticed so far is that there's so much excitement and so many things we could do with the garden. The folks in charge of the logistics are having a hard time deciding what to do first.
Nice. That's good.
Good problem to have.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at right now. We just today had a ceremony to put a ribbon around the outside of the perimeter of the garden.
Nice.
So I was surprised as well. I mean, we've got 500 students that have given input and expressed interest in the garden already. I was surprised at the level of support. So it's hard to describe the project in its entirety because we've basically got all the approvals and a green field. Actually, it's a brown field.
Right.
Technically it's a green field
Like greenfield development. You
in
just-
development
yeah.
terms, but
Yeah.
literally it's brown because everything around here is brown if you don't water it.
Yeah.
So we've got a blank slate to build on right now, and I think the problem is deciding what to do first.
Right.
But it's an interesting there's opportunities to do kind of innovative research in the garden, partnerships together with local ag companies. There's the whole angle of feeding food insecure students. There's a business development angle of renting the space out for events, corporate events, weddings, so forth and so on. There's a lot of different elements to this, and it's a bit hard to describe it in its entirety.
Right.
But that's giving you a little more information about it.
But that's good that the students are involved, because the difficult thing is with things like this, you have to have the community energy as well. Even if the option is there, you have to have people partake. So that's great to hear, especially the fact that you guys are helping this along and helping out with that project. Excellent to hear.
When we did the survey, I was really surprised at how many people put that they would volunteer their time and help. And I mean, there's probably at least 75% of people said that they would volunteer and help. So.
Will this be organized by a specific club or a group, or maybe like an elective class, or no idea yet?
It'll be at least. It will be at least like sort of overseen by a full-time employee on staff for the university. How we organize the cascading like circles of volunteers is also a green field right now that we can do anything we want.
That's going to be one very interesting kind of process methodology. You have to set up for that.
So the third venture, does somebody from the Condors team want to tell about our Condors ticket sales?
And real quick, please stand up, speak loudly, and put energy into it. If you feel uncomfortable, that's a good thing, but please sell us on it.
You guys want to do it, or should I do it?
Valente,
You want to
do it. Well, and what was your hand up for before, by the way, Sue?
Just for the thing with the edible garden. Don't knock it, as you know. People would say is like they wouldn't be willing to eat it. Hunger is great, man. Hunger will make you eat, a head of lettuce or a couple carrots.
Right. And I want people to do that. I was skeptical if people are going to do that. If people are doing that, that's fantastic. That's good to hear.
Hungry people will eat the food you give. Beggars can be choosers.
Yeah.
And there will never be a shortness on hunger in this country.
That's true.
Or any country for that matter, because we like eating. Eating causes endorphins. Endorphins make people happy.
Yeah.
And now the other project.
Cool, so now the other project. The Bakersfield Condors. You guys know what they are?
Yes.
Yes, ice hockey team locally here, right? We're like the B team to the Edmonton Oilers. Pretty much what we're doing here in class, we're working with them to boost their ticket sales. We're going class to class so far. We have a couple flyers. We have posters hanging around campus. So far, what we're doing, we're just doing straight ticket sales. We're going to classes, trying to advertise. Hey, would you like to buy a ticket? Here's what they tickets are worth. And
So sorry.
She's in the middle of doing it.
yeah, here's what you might get. If you go, you automatically get a free hat. You get entered into a raffle to win a free hockey stick. Last year we had 170 people go. This year we get over 200. Mr. Woods here is going to wrestle a bear in center ice.
You guys ever seen Semi-Pro?
No, but I remember you talking about this before.
Yeah.
One time earlier. Yeah.
Go ahead, Valente.
Don't you guys want to see him wrestle a bear? How exciting would that be?
Yeah.
We're gonna have time.
A grizzly bear. Real life.
Black bear. Teddy bear.
It may end up being someone dressed in a bear costume.
Could be a bear dressed up in a human costume?
That. If it were possible to organize a real bear, believe me, I'm game for anything. The logistics of where to fit that into the Condors program are difficult, but I know no problem. I can goof off and wrestle a bear in the suite where everybody can see.
Yeah, but the way we're doing, we're just going around asking classroom, asking friends and family. We're having flyers, posters. We have a little bit on Facebook. We made a little social media page inviting people to it. Yeah, the way we go about it, the tickets are $17 for just regular for the executive, and the suite is $34. That's all we do.
It's good. I like the energy. But I do. So you guys are just going around right now, just classroom to classroom selling the tickets, right?
We had a table out in front of the student union this week too, but yeah, the main vehicle that worked well last spring is simply going around to classes, pitching it,
Yeah.
getting people to sign up at the end of the class, and if they've got, if they want to buy on the spot, we've got tickets to sell right there. So it's been class to class, like pitch in front of a captive audience, and then collect the names of the people who are interested,
Yeah.
and just follow up with them to close the deal and sell tickets.
Yeah. And then from time to time, I'm the brave soul that just walks around campus asking people just randomly if they want to buy.
Have you guys thought about setting up some marketing animation or marketing automation? Because the thing is, a lot of different departments have their own like department website, right? So like the CS department has like the front page where you have events going on. Each department has different stuff going on. Have you guys thought about just saying like going to the departments and saying, hey, we're doing this thing for this class. It's a community thing. We're reaching out to students. So even though we're going to classes and speaking, do you mind posting this event like on your website or posting something that can be tracked, and that way you guys can have it go back into a sales funnel? And you can probably talk a bit more about that, since I'm guessing this is more like in your line of things. But would you recommend something like that?
Probably not at the student level, since
Okay.
that you start getting into like a lot more money with that. But I actually had a question. Why did you choose this project?
Why?
Yeah, why?
So I like people, man.
Well, there's plenty of ways to
Oh no, it's because like
interact with people.
I chose it because I like people, and I'm not afraid of going up to you. It's like, hey man, how you doing? What's your name?
Gabe.
Gabe. Hi Gabe. I have tickets here for the Condors. Or are you interested in buying? I'm not afraid of doing that, going up to people and just shamelessly promoting myself out there. I don't know about the rest of them, the rest of the people in the group, what their motives were for it, but mine is I don't mind going up to people, saying hi, talking, being friendly.
And are you asking why Valente or why this project?
Why this project? You can do almost
Because I like the Condors, and we had an opportunity to. There was an opportunity to do a test project about a year ago. The test project had promise, so we rolled it out to phase 2 last spring, and I was hoping we would sell 60 tickets. We sold 170.
Wow.
It was a booming success, and in general, projects that are a booming success, I repeat. So that the project originally started because I know folks at the Condors, and I thought it would be a fun project to do, just because I like the Condors and I like the movie Semi-Pro, and I wanted the opportunity to wrestle a bear.
Right.
That's how it all started.
Yeah.
And then I offered folks in this class a choice between a couple different projects, and the ones that chose the Condors project, I think some of them are
I
more
think-
comfortable with direct sales.
Yeah.
Some of them are actually interested in the sports business. There's a variety of reasons why they chose that project for themselves.
I think Alyssa and I were here as a part of the options. I think we were options. Yeah.
options. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. Video games, guys.
Oh yeah, you were. Originally, you were here as part of the options. That was another one of the options.
Yeah.
That a lot of this was just Justin.
Actually, I wanted to join your option, actually. However, I did not have your contact information at the time.
Okay. Yeah. I think.
Because
Yeah.
I know that like a lot of these, the edible garden and the condor is a little saturated, so I wanted something more direct. So that's why I wanted to work with you.
Cool.
Yeah, but obviously we didn't have the contact information.
You still have my business.
I have it now.
Right. Yes.
When you came as part of the options,
Yes.
Alyssa had to remind you to write your contact information on the
Yes.
board, and then as soon as the class was over with, it got erased, and we
Right.
didn't have it anymore. So
Okay.
we've got it now.
Yeah. I brought the
Unfortunately,
business cards last time.
Justin needed it about a month and a half ago.
Oh, okay. I see. Oh, yeah. I'm so sorry, man.
It happened.
Yeah.
But
Next year.
Next year.
yeah.
Yes.
So that's the Condors project. You guys have any other comments about that before we?
Well, I was just going to say, we have people in town doing development on the project, so next year, like, if you're still looking for projects, I have people in town that can help teach this is how you start doing video games. So I have hands-on people that can come in and mentor and do stuff now. So, but yeah, just leaving that there.
You guys want to buy a ticket by any chance?
Not right now.
We'll get back to you about that after class. Any other comments on that project?
No,
Good confidence speaking though.
yes, that was great.
Yolanda, you want to tell them about Freeze Prime?
And you gotta match this guy. You gotta
outdo this guy.
That's total.
Hello, my name is Sandra Falcon. I'm with a company called Freeze Prime. It's actually family owned, but started off with my dad. I'm managing it, most of it. It's here in town, and its main priority is manufacturing and selling antifreeze. This antifreeze is made mostly very pet friendly and environmentally friendly, unlike the other ones, which you can't really just drain it, or if an animal gets in and everything, they die. So this is more pet friendly, environmentally friendly. And one of them is actually made more organic due to the increase of the hybrid cars, or a lot of the motors are coming up with a new type of radiator that can be rusted really easily, so they need this new chemical, which is very organic. And that's what this is based on. So we are starting this one. It's just started up a couple months ago, and we're starting to promote it by going to different home repair shops or different dealers to get the product into the market.
Have you done vehicle testing and like lifelong testing to see how it holds up in sub-zero temperature, extreme temperature, so on and so forth?
Yes.
Okay.
There is a laboratory almost like right behind where we're set up, and they're doing the majority of the testing to make it like the quality is the right quality for the people.
Here in Bakersfield?
Yes.
That's awesome.
Just to give a little bit of background too.
Yeah.
Most of the students in here are business majors. Yolanda's actually a chemistry major.
Bio major with a minor in chemistry.
Yeah, bio major with a minor in chemistry, and she's taking this class because she and her dad are starting this business, and they're actually making the antifreeze.
Right.
This is not a resale operation; they are making their own antifreeze.
I know a lot of people who go, well, chemistry, it's one of those science degrees that you get. What are you going to use it to do? But you're directly
Building
using-
antifreeze.
Yeah.
Does it have some of the same like bitter taste to it that deters children and pets like standard antifreeze does?
No, the standard antifreeze is actually really sweet, which is why some of the pets go near it. They add an extra chemical in order to make it bitter,
Right.
in order to deter it. But that chemical may damage over time the cars, which is why they recommended they change it, the fluids every certain amount of miles. But this antifreeze it doesn't have a deterrent, but it doesn't cause any harm. It's actually non-harmful. It's non-hazardous.
So I didn't get.
Not recommended.
Not recommended for
So I didn't get the chance to ask this. So why is it that the bigger companies can't also do an antifreeze with the same? Is it because this is like a home brew blend, like unique, or I would imagine that like this has kind of been looked into on a larger scale before, right?
It's because they want to start transitioning, but they are really set up like there are two major companies basically on the antifreeze, Heat and Espresso, and they are set up with a tradition, and majority of the cars try to keep with them, stay possibly with them, so they don't try to keep anything new because their methods are working.
Right.
So they don't try to change anything.
And they would have to change the factory production lines and everything. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Nice.
How do you know that it is safe for children and pets?
She's like, I drank it. She's like, I have a glass every morning.
Chemical format. The base of it is for the original, the standard antifreeze is ethylene. Ethylene that causes like nutrient evaporation in the water consumption in the body, so it causes the body to sort of dry up. So that way they suggest you increase your fluids if by accident you inhale it or something. The base for our antifreeze is propylene and glycerin. They are slightly less harmful than the ethylene by almost 90%.
Wow. You said slightly. That's pretty good.
Yeah, but if you increase it, increase more, of course it's going to lessen the percentages. So that's why you dilute it a little, and that's why you always dilute the concentrated antifreeze.
So you guys are making it. You guys are selling it right now.
Yes, we just started up, yes.
Were you guys selling like boutique style? You guys have a like supply chain working with like Kragen or
We're
auto?
trying to get into them, but right now we are the manufacturing. We manufacture, we bottle it up, and we distribute it.
Distribute. And you have a distribution network of people that you're working with.
You want to sell it?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you hear that, Yolanda?
No?
I want to sell it at my store.
Okay.
Ooh, there you go.
So I got your card before you came to one of my clients' shops. When I heard it, I was like, I know you.
That's good.
I'm in outside sales. I work with over 200 mechanic shops personally,
Wow.
and they
That's amazing.
trust me. So I don't trust me.
Yeah.
Cool.
Business just
Follow
wants
up
it
on
back.
that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you have something really interesting that most people don't have. You have what we call a USP. Like, you are truly unique in what you're doing. So as long as you market it well, you meet the right people, shake the right hands, you'll be fine. Like, I actually like that. You deserve applause.
Yeah.
This is good.
Yeah. Doing good.
And
I'm
make
impressed
sure to follow up with Crystal.
Yes, follow
Okay.
up, or I will hunt you down.
Like, I'm totally impressed that you're already out selling it. It's out, it's in cars, working, running. Like, that's cool.
It is. Hey, Marcella.
Join the party.
So that's the project. Shall we transition to questions?
That was good energy, by the way. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, just bring them up and just pick the ones that you think are best.
Yeah, I'm gonna just kind of cherry pick here. Actually, I'm gonna. This is Crystal's question too. You remember your question?
Yeah, I kind of do.
You want to say it, or should I read it off?
It said something like, who you it had I think it was something like how your customers actually, are you more prone to work with like millennials or like the old school? Go ahead and read the question.
What demographic of clients do you seem to attract more? Do you get a more positive vibe from the millennials versus someone with an old school brand of marketing? Or are the old schoolers more willing to adhere to your consulting ideas?
I already have so I get a whole bunch of millennials that would love to work with me that are broke. But all of the interesting clients that have money are always the older generation, but they're also a little bit more difficult to work with because this has to do with like my video game consulting. Part of what I do is PDL Enterprises. So the parts of the video game industry that have money are the more traditionally funded parts. So, for instance, one of my best clients has a mobile game right now on the App Store that got featured on BBC News, and it has a soundtrack done by this award-winning British musician. And the whole thing is it's supposed to be this educational app game that's about London during the Victorian era, right? So there was a ton of money dumped into this game, not only for the development of the game, but for the development team to actually go to London and visit these historical sites and actually go and see a lot of this stuff. But my other clients are more the normal, the more millennial type of clients are, I made this game in 4 months in my basement. I need to market it or sell it or get it on Steam or something, but I don't really have money. It's a lot harder to work with those types, but with the older types, generally the games aren't as good. So it's like, you got plenty of money, but I can't help your game. Versus, I can do amazing things for your game. You have to pay me first. So that's been my experience. So
mine's more millennials, not really, since they don't have the funds. I do on the older side of the millennials, female entrepreneurs who are usually consultants that want to take their knowledge and put it into a online course and be able to fill out. That way they can scale their business. But on the same token, I work well with older generations because the type of marketing that I do is stuff that's worked over and over again. The medium has changed, but the principles are still the same. I can point to, this is exactly what I'm doing, and it's been working for years, and it's going to continue to work. So that calms them down from like, oh, it's this brand new thing. How do you know it's gonna work? And at the same time, I'm keeping ahead of a lot of my competitors by being in conferences or getting notes from conferences, since I know what's working right now before a lot of people even find out about it. So I have the best of both worlds. The only type of clients that block me right now are the ones that they're doing millions of dollars a year, and I'm not at that level. So,
basically, for my clients, hardly any of them are millennials at all. Typically, the clients that I end up getting and attracting tend to be businesses who've been established 15 to 25 years. They've already established themselves. They're old school, brick and mortar. They're either looking to transition into the digital age, whether that means getting a website or e-commerce, or they're just trying to demystify digital marketing and social media. So that's primarily the clients that I have. Sometimes it's great, sometimes it sucks. I've had older clients that have been absolutely terrible to work with because they're so set in their ways, they refuse to change. They don't want to learn about their website traffic or this or that. They don't care. They're just like, all right, so I paid you some money. Where are all my clients at? I said, well, it's not quite how it works. Let's explain to you, brand awareness and sales funnel. Let's explain to you how marketing really works. And I was like, it's been a week, nothing's happening. I don't know why I should keep paying you. So there are a lot of people that just don't understand how marketing works. People are very sales driven, and sales is great, but a good portion of clients that I've had, present and past, don't really understand that difference between sales and marketing, and really what digital marketing is and how it can be very effective in their business for brand awareness and all of that good stuff. So primarily it's going to be Gen X and Boomers for me.
Bouncing around a bit, this in terms of scope and focus of the questions from specific to broad. Rashad, back in the back, had a question. How did you enter this field?
One step at a time.
Please,
Very
expand.
carefully.
Yeah, let's see, so how I got here was first a very big foolish decision, and then a lot of small, smarter ones. So I used to work in IT, took a trip and realized that I hated it, came back from a trip, turned my 2 weeks, no plan whatsoever, but I had previous experience building websites actually for the rec center here. And so I had that marketing experience. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to go out and retrain again and get a job building websites. 6 months later, still no jobs. And so at that point, I could decide to either continue looking for a job and work with someone else, or I could start my own business doing pretty much the same thing. And so I decided to start my business. And in the past, it'll be like 2 years in February, I made several critical pivots that took me from a generic person that has a web shop type business to someone who specializes in building online sales funnels for clients who are looking to utilize the Ask method, which is a very useful and powerful tool to collect customer research straight from the horse's mouth. And you analyze that and you build your online sales funnel to reflect what your market is actually telling you. And so that's the big picture overview of how I got here, one step at a time.
So, I used to work in IT. I took a trip to Japan. I came back, and I realized I hated IT.
Wow, there's a pattern here.
So, very much kind of similar. I had actually a mutual friend of Vani and I, who
you love very much.
Yes, who I love very much, who started up his own company, and he was doing video game publishing. And one of the things was he was having a hard time with some of the games not being fantastic quality. And since we both used to work IT and we both worked night shift, normally a lot of the time would be, while he was working on his own game, we would talk about games and I would talk with him about design. So I kind of worked as like a consultant with him, like, well, have you tried adding this feature to your game? Have you tried changing this? And I helped him shape his game into what it ended up becoming. So he remembered that, which I was just kind of doing casually because there was nothing better to do. And he said, dude, I need you to be able to come here and do that professionally and help some of my clients actually refine their game. So I started just doing some freelance consulting work as a design consultant. But eventually I started actually showing up to some of the events that they were going to, in which they were promoting their games, in which they were actually trying to drum up more business. And I just kind of took a can-do attitude and just kind of started talking to people like, hey, we're Black Shell Media, this is what we do, I would love to, do some business with you. Let me have you talk with our CEO or with our CFO. Like, let me get you in touch with the business guys. And eventually they realized, no, you need to be one of the business guys because you can't just keep passing off. Like, you're making these point of contacts. You need to be able to continue doing that. And I worked my way up to director of strategy from there. Eventually, I just got tired of working for someone else, and I decided, you know what, I want to do this for myself. So that's when I said, hey, good luck. You guys keep on doing what you're doing. I'm not really going to be competition, but I'm going to kind of do this separate thing on a different scale. And so that's why I've shifted off to some consulting here on the side, really just anything that I can get on the side that I feel like doing, but mainly focusing on development projects. And I actually have to go.
Oh.
So, is that okay? Cool. So, it was great seeing you guys again.
The panel will continue, though. Thanks, Tomas.
Sorry about that. See you guys.
So I basically tripped and fell into marketing, and I've been doing it for like 6 years. I graduated here in 2010 with my bachelor's in sociology. So very different from marketing. I was like, oh, what are you doing with sociology? It's not to me, but it's interesting, so I'm going to do it. And then I happened to be in sales for a long time, and I had an opportunity at the retail store that I was working at to apply for a summer internship. So I applied, didn't think really too much of it, got to fly out to New York and interview for this internship, got accepted and got hired by the marketing department. And they're like, hey, you're a cool guy, you're really good at speaking, how would you like to spend a summer with us working on customer engagement for our marketing department? I'm like, hell yeah, I will. So I got to spend a whole summer in Manhattan learning all about customer engagement, analytics, website traffic, email campaigns, and then got a unique opportunity to sit down and talk to their director of social media. The company was Coach, by the way, if anybody wants to know. So Coach Handbag. So I got to sit with the director of marketing, with director of social media for Coach, and got to pick her brain for a whole afternoon. I'm like, this is amazing. This is great. This is 2010, so I was slow to kind of pick up on social media. I'm like, oh yeah, Facebook's here, whatever is going to be around for however long. But understood how brands could use the power of digital marketing and social media marketing and brand awareness and really connecting with people on an emotional level, especially with a luxury brand. And it just sparked my interest immediately, and I absolutely fell in love with it. The funny thing about the three of us is I also have an IT background. So after my internship, I ended up working for a local IT company for 3.5 years. And that's really where I got to refine my digital marketing skills. I got to play with some HTML, some code, and some website building. But I really got to understand the analytics and the back end of what it takes for, okay, here's a website, but what is all the back end marketing stuff? And that's kind of continued and evolved into kind of what I'm doing today.
Next question from Jimmy. What tools are essential for developing a well-known brand?
Personality. I'd say the first and foremost is personality. If you're boring and nobody likes you, your brand isn't going anywhere. And that's just the complete truth. I mean, if you go out into the public and you can't represent yourself well, you can't communicate what your message, your brand is, what your products are, nobody's going to take you seriously. Again, I'd say credibility. Don't burn any bridges. Every connection you make could be a connection that you're eventually going to reach and circle back to 5-10 years from now. I've worked with some really shitty people, but I've never burned any of those bridges because that person knows this person and this person knows that person. It's Bakersfield, so everybody knows everybody. So always keep that in mind in the back of your head. Really never do anything that's going to damage your credibility and burn a bridge. And then make sure you have something unique. Even if let's say every single one of you is selling the exact same thing. Make sure your value proposition, what you're selling, is unique. For instance, when I was in IT, we wouldn't tell people, hey, tell everybody that you're, how are you different from your other IT competitor? Oh, well, our customer service is good and we hire the best technicians. Like, well, yeah, everybody does. Nobody's going to say our technicians are idiots and our customer service sucks. Nobody's going to say that. So how are you going to make yourself different from everybody else who's selling the exact same thing as you? So those are probably the three biggest things I would say to really make your brand stand out.
Yeah, I don't have too much to say on branding since it's the polar opposite of direct response. But I will say that when you're looking at who your competitors are, if they're zag, so make a obvious difference in contrast between who your competitors are and who you are. And so, sometimes that means making your personality very polarizing, but people will notice you. And if they notice you, you get their attention, and you see the value that you offer is greater than what your competitor is, you're going to continue to stand out and get that business over and over again. That's about it.
Okay. Here's a question from Courtney. Can you elaborate on your weekly consultant calls? What do they sound like, and how does it help your clients?
Oh yeah, that one. When I read that, I had a very dry humor response, but I'll say leave that.
You can do both.
Okay. It sounds like this. It sounds like we're talking because it's audio. Really dry. Okay. A lot of my clients, they want to know how to use Facebook advertising. So that's like probably the bulk of it. So me just taking them through the back end of the platform, showing that, all right, you can do this here, sharing certain strategies. The other part of it is just identifying why stuff isn't working for them. So like this example wasn't exactly a consulting call, but it's something that I helped someone who was looking to work with me, is that he tried to sell his own sales funnel. And so usually a sales funnel, I will have a opt-in page that has something for free. And so that's usually like an ebook or a PDF download. It might be a video series. And so that's called a lead magnet. And for the lead magnet, no one was opting in, probably because the lead magnet was about business and not about the individual who wants the lead magnet. And so he was a private investigator, and the lead magnet was 10 things you should know before you hire a private investigator. Well, that's cool if you know you need a private investigator. But what if you don't? What if your partner in life you think is cheating on you? So it would be a better option to put, what are the 10 most common body signals to identify if you're even questioning your partner's loyalty? Now, if someone has that thought in their brain, they're going to download that as quickly as possible. And then you can introduce them to, there are services like a private investigator that can help you. If you suspect foul play, then you can hire someone to dive in deeper to confirm these thoughts. And so stuff like that, just identifying, based on my experience in my skill level, that I can identify what they're doing wrong and tell them what they can do correctly instead. And other stuff like insider industry knowledge. So like one thing that's going to be happening pretty soon is Facebook advertising is going to be reaching its max capacity. So they're running out of places to put ads. And so what that's going to cause is prices are going to start going up. And so for the businesses that are set up in a direct response model, they won't be hurting as much as the business that needs to make profit on every single sale. But for a direct response model business, you can break even on the first sale or even go negative, but by knowing that you'll get more sales on the back end with bigger and better offers. And so that's like something that's probably new if people are more familiar with like retail mom and pop shops where every transaction counts. You're welcome.
I don't necessarily have weekly consulting calls,
but
I do have kind of a series of different conversations that I have with my clients. Almost all of my clients are here in the Kern County area, not necessarily Bakersfield, but within Kern County. So I still like to do face-to-face, good old-fashioned meetings, sit down, have a coffee, have a beer, whatever my client wants, and just sit and talk with them. Because it's a lot of numbers and analytics and data, And because my clients tend to be older, they don't understand what all this stuff means. They look at it like, there's graphs and numbers and colors, and I don't know what they mean. I don't know. So I have to sit and break down, and I have reports on my laptop, and I have to kind of walk them through everything and what all these numbers mean. So a lot of it is still face-to-face sitting down. My initial meetings I call discovery meetings. So I'll sit with them and just learn a little bit about their business, what their struggles, what their issues are, and then kind of tailor a program to help alleviate some of those needs, whether that's 100% myself or whether I have to kind of refer other people out to kind of help me out, whatever that is. But even if it's something that's outside of my skill range, I still will try to get other people involved. That way I can be the main point of contact for all of my clients' needs. Because the last thing I want to do is send them to somebody else, except for this guy, I'll send him stuff. But other people in town, if you send them something, they can stab you in the back, cut your prices, and steal your content. So I try to prevent that by making sure the client's main point of contact is with me.
Next question from Ferris, kind of a little bit, like, raise your hand there, Ferris. If you could give yourself one piece of advice when you were our age, what would it be and why?
I think we're probably the same age as a lot of you guys in the room.
Or a few years older.
Oh yeah, we're the same age.
Yes.
Well, then, let's rephrase it. When you were just finishing undergrad.
Yeah, like I really don't know if I would have done anything different. Maybe what I would have done is stayed at my job longer, discovered copywriting sooner, and studied that skill before jumping off the deep end. Since having no real plan isn't fun.
I agree.
Yeah, it's very stressful, as you probably know.
Yep. No, I wouldn't recommend that either if I can go back and advise myself again.
Yeah.
I definitely did a lot of weird things in college. Not like crazy wild, but just like the decisions I made. Like I decided to quit college for like 6 months and sell used cars. Like I did just stupid stuff in college that made absolutely no sense. And I'd probably go back and do all of it all over again because it's really taught me a lot of lessons that made me what I am today. One of the biggest things I would say that I'd go back and tell myself, and even just a year or two ago, is don't undervalue yourself. Don't sell yourself short. I've picked up clients for pennies, and they've been the worst clients I've ever had, and I've worked long, hard, miserable, nasty hours for nothing and no return, thinking in my head, oh, well, this is a great experience. This is going to be good for me. But in the end, all I did was I just sold myself short, and I devalued myself. And there's nothing worse than you devaluing your own self. So if I had to tell myself anything, I'd say, hey, don't get shitty clients. Don't devalue yourself. Don't sell yourself short. Save a lot of heartache and pain.
Fair enough. Next question's from Allison. What kind of tips can you give for students wanting to enter this field?
Read. A lot of reading.
Read.
I didn't bring any books, but I've got a ton of books at home in several bookshelves. I mean, reading is definitely reading and evolving. So if there's something you don't know, get on YouTube or get on a variety of different online courses teachers help. One thing you want to do is try to keep up with everything that's going. I didn't do websites before. It was outside of my comfort level. I would just do social media consulting. Well, I realized I was losing opportunity because other people were doing websites and I wasn't. All right, well, I'm doing websites now. I'll figure it out. And I figured it out. So don't always continue to learn and read and educate yourselves and never stop. It's constantly going. As you learn one thing, something else is going to come up and you got to learn that and you got to learn that. So always continuously read. I probably read at least 25 articles a day, every single day. Because there's always so much value in information that you can get. And even if you just learn one little tiny tidbit of information, that can help you later on down the line. You have a question?
Yeah, so you said that you went out there and you learned it. Did you go take courses or did you self-teach yourself?
Self-teach. I just crash course and just like, I think I'm going to figure out how to do WordPress today.
How do you stay motivated? Because I tried learning WordPress before and
honestly, money.
Okay.
When it comes down to it, I can get a couple grand for doing this website, and it won't take me very long once I learn it. The learning curve is terrible, absolutely. But once you get past that, it's not that difficult. Like, the hardest part is doing your first website. By far is the absolute hardest. But after you get past that, you can charge people whatever you want. Because if people don't know how to do it and they need something done, they'll essentially pay whatever you want them to, within reason. I mean, some people are charging tons of money to, but I mean, you can really charge them whatever you want once you feel comfortable with it. And if you don't feel comfortable with it, that's where building really good business networking comes in. So let's say there's a really difficult web project I don't want to do. I'll give it to somebody else, have them do it. I'll be the middleman, and then I'll just market the price and make double. That way I still make a profit on it. So honestly, at the end of the day, what it comes down to is I like to travel and I like money. And that's why I go to
Cool. And to add on to learn through books and just be on the computer, figuring out, it's recommended that you get at least one mentor or someone that you like what they're doing and you look up to them. Get into their world at all costs. I have 3 people that I look up to, that there's a common thread between all 3 of them, and I'm still getting into their world. I'm fully in one's world. I'm about to meet the other one next week in Austin, and I'm working my way to get to be a third, and borrow, beg, and steal to work with these people. Like if the third one, if I get a unpaid opportunity to go and work with them, I will hop on a plane and go to Florida for like 6 months, a year, I don't care. Because they can shortcut your learn cycle so quickly. And then on the same token, if you can't get them to mentor you one-on-one or work within their company, you can always use the pay-to-play method. So if you buy something of theirs or if you send them a gift, if you invest in them pretty much, you're more than likely to get their attention, and they will give you at least a little bit of their time. And I think that's something that a lot of people either they're not aware of or they don't think it's possible. And I use this strategy like all the time. And I'm going to be using it again next week in Austin. And I know it's going to set me up for future opportunities. Yeah.
Cool.
Wait, hold on.
How do you request and how much you initiate any type of contact? Would you say
Well, you start with what you know. So if you can get a phone number for the business, if you get their email address, cold email. If they run a particular online community, join that. For the first person, I joined his online community, which is like $65 a month. But just being in the community is a huge asset. And once you're inside, you can just, since it's a forum-based community, so at any time I can just open a new message and ask questions. So that's one way. And the other way is using different gifts, or like I was just saying, like purchase something that they have created. It could be as simple as, if they're an author, buy their book, read it, send them an email on, hey, I read your book, I highlighted it, I had a few questions. Would it be okay if I had 15 minutes of your time to tell them the context of your questions? And if they have time, then they might actually get on the phone with you. And so you take these small steps, and before you know it, like a year or two down the road, you could have a very good relationship with that person. So if they know what you're doing and what you're up to, and they find out that one of their buddies has the opportunity, they might let either you know or their buddy know, hey, I know this person that would be perfect for you, and so that's a very good referral. So also, I didn't think long term. You may not be able to see all the steps along the way, but looking back, it's going to be obvious. You're welcome.
It's 8:04. I think we got time for one or two more questions.
This goes too quickly.
I know it does. Doesn't it? So this one's from Yolanda. You remember your question? What is the best way to set up appointments with potential clients who seem to not be interested in what I'm selling?
Yeah, that for me is a little harder to answer since you're more direct sales, right? So like I really can't answer for your situation. For me, I have a process. So they contact me. I set up a time on the phone where they think they're interviewing me, when in fact I'm interviewing them to find out if they're the type of business that I can help, or even if they're the type of person that I want to work with, which doesn't really help you since you're business to business of just direct sales. I don't know, like probably like talking to someone who is more experienced in direct sales will probably give you a better answer.
I have a comment on that too, Yolanda, but I want the panel to speak first.
Definitely for you, I mean, have really kind of a follow-up campaign, or essentially like a drip marketing campaign. So depending on the level of the lead and kind of where they enter in the sales funnel. So did they? And again, for your case, it's much different than, well, for a lot of different things. But in general, I mean, you would kind of just follow them through the sales funnel cycle, follow them through the sales funnel, and give them some valuable information, give them something, teach them something, and then kind of follow them through and follow up with them, whether it's phone call or it's email. This is where something like automated marketing campaigns would work very, very well. So you could put them on a 30 or 60 day, what's called track. For those of you guys who are really familiar with marketing campaigns, so put them on a track where they get a series of emails, a series of phone calls, things of that sort. For me personally, I will do a lot of email and text message follow-up. So I'll email them, I'll text them, I'm trying to get to know them on a personal level. And there are some clients I don't want, so I will qualify that client. If there's somebody I don't want to work with, then I'll slowly start to kind of back off and just keep as acquaintances, and that's it. And other people that honestly they want free stuff. So that's really difficult to work with. And eventually, once you get a couple clients, at least as far as like the consulting gig goes, you'll understand like, okay, well, yeah, this is going to be a waste of time. I'm not going to pursue this anymore. But definitely for you, I mean, you've got a really great, unique product. So you've already got something different that nobody else really truly has. And especially if, like you mentioned, you're talking about hybrids, reaching that specific, very niche community. So if you go into talking specifically to certain industries, whether it's hybrid, whether, well, not electric car, but hybrid, or anybody who's running like biodiesel or anything like that, you can definitely go in directly with them. And as you join and learn more about these communities, it'd be easier and easier to sell. Then you would get other people involved that are helping to sell it too, and eventually just like a big cascading effect. But yeah, I mean, constant follow-up, not too pushy. I mean, you have to be pushy at the beginning, but not overly pushy. Assertive, but not overly aggressive, if that's helpful.
Yeah, and I think the common thing here is to have a process, measure it, adjust it.
I'll chime in here a little bit too, as like a long time incorrigible like direct sales guy. A couple things. First of all, make sure that the contacts that you're targeting are worth your time. If you're going to be able to sell 5 bottles, screw it. If you're going to be able to sell 5,000 or 500, that contact is worth your time. So first of all, I'd make sure that you're targeting the contacts that have the most cascading effect of buying. You know, they might not buy them. They might not buy directly, but they refer you to a bunch of other buyers. First of all, make sure that you're targeting people that are worth. In general, I would say that direct sales is not worth it for any product that costs less than $10,000. Like if you can't envision getting $10,000 out of a client, then in the long term you're going to be spending a whole lot of time for peanuts. So, first of all, I would be targeting contacts that have big dollar sign if you can crack them. Second, you got to believe that you have something they need. They just don't realize it yet. And you really have to keep that in mind. I mean, you're not trying to get them to do something they don't want to do. You're trying to get them to recognize that they need something they don't realize they need yet. You have to believe in what you're selling. And third, I would say divide and conquer. Like, you really make a plan for each of those contacts individually. Look, I call first. If the call doesn't work, then I send an email to follow up. Then I send a brochure a couple weeks later. You just target from every different angle. Referrals are great. LinkedIn makes things a very small place these days. So if you just find out who knows whom, that can help too. But those would be my 3 pieces of advice for you, Yolanda. Make sure that you're targeting big fish. Believe that they need you. They just don't get it yet. And it's not their fault. It's not that you're pestering them. They just don't understand yet how much you can help them. And then finally, just hit each one from different angles at different times. You gotta take each fish individually and just break them down with like an attack from the left, attack from the center, attack from the right, some artillery, then back to a frontal attack. Like, you just got to keep pounding on things until it breaks.
I'd also like to add one thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is more from my expertise, but since you said believes, part of what I do is I create a rock-solid marketing argument. And so what people don't know is sometimes you need to, in order to get someone to a sale, they need to believe certain things in order to buy something. And sometimes people start over here, and you need to get them over here. So I think, what do I need to have them believe in order for them to buy my product and trust me? And if you break that down into little steps, that could be part of your process, your follow-up process. That way you can take people who might not know who you are or if your product is any good, but if you educate them and make it so they believe in what you're telling them, when they get to the sell, then it's going to be an easy sell.
How do you read the book Start With Why?
Yes.
That's a really good book. Something that she would want to do. I mean, our company, I work for a small business. Everything we do, we try to use that, what we learned from Start With Why. And it's incredible how you can change the person's attitude to make them really believe that this is what they need in order to make their business grow. As they need me, they need my product. It's really incredible.
I got to hear Simon Sinek speak at a conference once. It was probably one of the best experiences I've ever had at any conference I've ever been to.
Yeah,
he's an incredible, phenomenal public speaker. And his books are great if you haven't read all 8 of them.
Well, I said 2 more questions, but it's 8:12, and I actually need to make sure that I get this class finished on time tonight. Okay. So I think I'm going to call it. I'm going to call it now. Let's give the speakers a big round of applause. Thank you guys very, very much. Very quickly, Condor's team. I need you guys to sign up for slots next week. And what's that? If you haven't signed up, there's a bunch of blank slots that don't have a person yet, so I need you to sign up for slots. And tomorrow is technically the deadline for the first giveaway. So anybody who signed up on your sign-up sheet with interest, make sure to touch base with them one more time and see if they want to buy by the end of the day tomorrow. That's the deadline for the hockey stick. Okay? Yeah? Awesome. Yes.
Alright, guys,
Basically, I was curious to know because, like, we distribute and then we also buy.
what I need.
Thank you guys so much.
I know the things that I need. Subtract.
Actually,
If you tell me what's left over still, then I know what's on. Makes sense? But I forgot to
remember
do
you
my
asked
whole
me, oh yeah, the rich quarter. Rich quarter is
Yeah. Were you waiting for me?
Yeah.
What's up?
For the 10
Oh, okay.
Oh, hang on. Let me turn off the recording.